y'all, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another series of Beauty and the Bibliophile. So today we are talking about We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. So this was one of my reads for the readathon, the TBR readathon that I just recently did. I have a video on that. If you want to go check it out, I'll link it down below for y'all. Yeah, so I didn't do so well in the readathon. That week was just a crazy week for me, and I just didn't get around to reading all 4 of my books. So I'll continue reading those and of course doing these book talks about them. So I've really been having fun doing this. I love talking about books. I love books. So of course, if you have any recommendations at all, anything you want me to read or check out, or just let me know what you're reading, put it down in the comments below and I'll definitely check that out. So yeah, so today we're just doing, you know, the usual simple makeup look that I normally do during these videos. And I actually just put up a video talking about pretty much what I do for like these videos. So you see me do these all the time, but I don't really talk through it and kind of like, you know, just talk about what I'm doing. I just tell you what I'm using, and then I go about and I talk about the book. So my last beauty video was a video on less is more, on how you can just do, get such a good look and such a put together look by using just a minimal amount of makeup. I talk a lot about products that are just simple and that'll get the job done and get you out the door. So definitely check that out. I'll link that down below as well. So yeah, so today we're going to be talking about that book, and we're also going to be, I'll show you a couple products that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to be using today the IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better CC Plus, the Airbrush Perfecting Powder. This came with the oil-free matte foundation. It's supposed to be the finishing powder for that, but I find it's just a little bit, I found it for me, it was a little bit too much. But that's when I realized that it was a little bit more coverage than like a regular finishing powder. I mean, when I use a finishing powder, it's pretty much got to be translucent, because my foundation that I'm going to use is going to be enough to give me the coverage that I want. So I don't want any extra coverage, because I'm so oily that once the day goes on, that extra coverage just kind of turns into a cakey mess. So I don't like that. So if I'm going to use, and I do use a finishing powder, but it's got to be light and very translucent. Well, this was adding more color, so it just made me more dark. And then I found throughout the day that it, like I said, it was just an oily, greasy mess of cakeness. It was, you know, no. So I have been trying the product on its own. I'll do a separate video on that. But yeah, today I'm going to be using this product as just my, just a light powder, just to kind of look put together. I'm going to be using my MAC Prep and Prime just to kind of give me that awake look with my my under eyes. The IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Pore Bronzer, my absolute favorite bronzer. I got my Bye Bye Pores Illumination Powder. Now this to me is a good translucent kind of finishing powder. It does have a little bit of more of a glow, which I like. So I use that to kind of set my under eye. And then I'll be using the IT Cosmetics. It is just, they have like just such good go-to everyday products, y'all. I mean, some things I don't like of theirs, but there are a lot of their products I do love and I do have in my collection. So, and you probably see me use them all the time, especially in these videos. But this is the CC Plus Radiance Ombre Blush, and by ombre, it like, you know, graduates into like a lighter shade. So I like to mix it all together. It kind of gives it like a peachy pink. The color is Je ne sais quoi. And I'm going to be using my Tarte Man Eater palette as well. My Anastasia Clear Brow Gel, can't go without that. And all 3 of my current favorite mascaras, which is the Roller Lash by Benefit, absolute favorite. You can use this on its own. It does all the things. It lifts, it gives volume, it lengthens, it's great. I absolutely love it. But I like to kind of top it with the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. And then, of course, my Bottom Lash mascara for my bottom lashes, because I'm a big smudger and I can't wear just regular mascara on my bottom lashes because I'll end up with black eyes. And then for my lips today, I'm using the L'Oreal Julienne's Nude. And then, of course, setting everything with my MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus Spray. And that's it. I know that does kind of seem like a lot, but that's what I'll be using in today's video while we talk about this book. And yeah, so let's just get right on into it. Bear with me, y'all, while I try to remember this book, because it has been probably about 2 weeks since I read it. So just hang in there, bear with me. But so I read it for the readathon that I was doing, which I completely failed on. That week just turned out to be a super crazy week for me. Just a lot of random stuff. I had a party that I was hosting, a jewelry party, my sell and dot party, which I do have a video on. I'll link it down below if you want to check it out. So I was doing that week. So in preparation of all that, and that's, you know, it just kind of, the readathon just kind of like fell through the cracks. But I did read this book, and I did start on the Charlaine Harris Sleep Like a Baby, which I'm really enjoying, and I'm still reading. I'm about halfway through it right now. So it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. It's just a cute, cozy mystery. I love Charlaine Harris's writing. She's just one of my favorites. This is the one I'm reading is like the 12th book, I believe, in the Aurora Teagarden Mysteries series she's got. She done the Sookie Stackhouse series, which is based on the True Blood show from HBO. So definitely check these books out, y'all. It really, her writing is so good. So anyway, okay, so this book, it was a little weird. It took me a couple chapters before I really got into it. But after I started reading, like, I think it was like the 3rd chapter, I finally was like, oh, okay, I like this. This is kind of it's just fun, weird stuff. So you kind of just get to know her in the beginning. Her name is Catherine. What is their last name? They're like a well-known family in the village, wherever they live. See, I don't remember, and it may not even say where they live. Blackwood is their last name. So her name is Catherine, Mary Catherine Blackwood is her name. She's 18 years old. She lives with her sister Constance and her uncle Julian. So it was like their big family home, and I'm guessing this is based in like it was published in 1965, I believe. The author passed away, Shirley Jackson, passed away in 1965. Okay, I knew it was something about 1965. She passed away in 1965, but she's famous for writing books like House on Haunted Hill and some other books that I haven't heard of, but I've heard her name several times. I didn't particularly like House on Haunted Hill. It just, I don't know, for me it was just kind of like all over the place, and I never really could follow it. I might try it again, just since I've read this one and I truly enjoyed it and I kind of like got it. I kind of got her writing. Maybe I just, you know, didn't really know, I wasn't familiar with her at the time of that book. So I might go back and read it just, you know, just cause. But this one was published it was first published in 1962. And it's been like republished, like different editions, like 1970, 1976, and then again in 2006, which is when this one was published. So, yeah, so this, I'm guessing we're basing this on like in the 1950s. Later 1950s, early 1960s, because it kind of gave me the vibe of like a Jane Austen type book, but without the like fancy like English wording or however. I just, that's why I don't like. I'm not crazy about like historical novels, like a romantic history or a mystery history, something like that. You know, based like back in the day, like the 1900s, because I just don't get the writing, the literature. The way they spoke, I guess I should say. I'm just like, it just kind of makes me like drift off into like another place and time, and I'm like, wait, where am I? So yeah, I mean, I have read like a few of the Jane Austen books, but which were okay. Sense and Sensibility, and Pride and Prejudice, two of my absolute favorites, of course. And of course, I've watched the movies as well. Love the movie for Sense and Sensibility. Just fantastic movies, fantastic acting. So definitely check that out. And Pride and Prejudice, more of the recently ones. I think there are several movies that were made. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. See how I can just kind of like roll into something else. So, okay, back to We Have Always Lived in the Castle. So, like I said, so you kind of like to get to know her and her family. And so she goes out like once a week to get groceries for, I guess, like for the week. And, you know, like people like are talking about her. And when she walks in a room, everybody like goes quiet. So, you know, like, you know, I'm wondering to myself, like, why is this happening? You know, why do they not like this family? Because it kind of talks about how everyone's like, not, I guess like a little, some people are kind of scared, and some people are just like, don't want to be around their family, or so you like, well, I wonder what happened. So that's kind of like what you're dealing with in like the first 2 chapters and maybe like part of chapter 3. And the chapters are really long. So there's only like a few, like 10, maybe 12 chapters, but they are really long. They kind of like break and then go start into something else. But it's the whole book is told through Mary Catherine, and her sister calls her Mary Cat, and she's like, her sister's like the only one that can call her Mary Cat. And the uncle is sort of like maybe a little senile, maybe. He doesn't remember Mary Catherine. He thinks she's dead, that she died in like a foster home or an orphanage or something like that. Why? You know, I don't know, because she's always there like with them. She doesn't like really talk to him much, but she's always there with him, and he talks to her, but I don't think like he realizes who she is, because he's just, you know, he's just kind of like in a wheelchair, and he's very like where are my papers? I need to write this down. And just, you know, just kind of like, I want to say like senile, like he's not all there. But, you know, he's only one left in the family, like the oldest in the family. He was their dad's brother, and they all lived in this castle. And so apparently something happened, because he keeps saying, I need to write this down for that day. I need to write it down, and so we can remember that day. And you're like, what is this day? And what happened? So, like, people come to visit and, like, have tea or whatever. People that, like, aren't scared of them. That there's, like, a very few, like, a little handful of people that aren't scared of them. And you still, like, it goes on, like, for forever, but it keeps you interested. Like, it goes on forever about, you know, like, it doesn't never really come to the conclusion of, like, what happened until, like, closer to the end of the book. And, so you kind of get the vibe that the older sister, who is in her, I want to say like late 20s, maybe early 30s, but everybody thinks it's like whatever happened, everybody thinks that she did it. And so, you know, they kind of like, so that's why Mary Catherine is the one that always goes out into public to like go to the store or get whatever they need. Because Constance is like afraid to get out the house, because everyone thinks that she did it, and she's not like correcting, you know, anybody. Of course, you think she did it at this time too. I'm not going to tell you who did what, but you get that later on. But it was a very interesting and fun read. So like their cousin apparently comes to visit them. What is his name? I want to say like Cousin John or something. let's see. Yeah, see, I'm going to have to go back to the book. Charles, cousin Charles. So he comes and he visits, but he's there, you know, and I've kind of figured this. He's there for like one reason. So like there's apparently a safe in the house where they keep all their money. They don't like put it in the bank or anything like that. They keep it in the safe in the house. Like it's just cash. And Constance is the only one that has access to this safe. And she'll like go whenever they need to go somewhere. She'll like go get the money and give it to Mary Catherine to go out and get whatever it is that they need. So when cousin Charles comes, he like wants to know where the safe is, and so you know he's only there for one reason. He thinks, well, I think it never really says, but I think he's there just to like claim his portion. Which, you know, I mean, he has no right. All he's a cousin. And there was no will. I don't think there was a will. You know, because right away you get that the parents passed away. But I don't think there was like a will to like leave anybody with anything as far as I can remember. But, you know, so he's there only for one thing. He's there to like claim his portion, basically. It's never said, but that's what you get. And he's staying in like the father's room, and this is bothering Mary Catherine. She's so she's like 18 years old, but she seems to me, she acts the way I read it. She's very much like maybe like a 10 to 12-year-old, like not the way an 18-year-old usually acts, but maybe that's how they acted back in like the later 1950s, 1960s. I don't know. But it was just very strange the way she wrote everything. It gave me just a historical vibe. But you know, I knew it wasn't because it's not written like that. But yeah, she's very like childlike, but she's 18 years old. She has her cat. I can't remember the name of the cat, but it's something like a regular name, like Joseph or something like that. So her and her cat go off, you know, together. A lot. They like go to the woods a lot. Apparently they have like a lot of land that they have secluded themselves in, and everyone else in the town or the village hates them for like blocking out their way to the roads or whatever. So because apparently if you can pass in front of their house to go to like all the main roads or something like that, but they don't allow it. But you kind of get the story of that. I think it had something to do with her father or maybe her mother. I think maybe her mother wanted her father to like build this fence around their property so no one could pass in front of their house anymore. Some crazy nonsense like that. But during the book, she kind of like breaks out in like this weird like poem. And you don't understand what the heck it is. You're like, what am I reading? But it's something like Mary Cat, because her sister Constance calls her Mary Cat. Mary Cat, would you like a cup of tea? No, you will poison me. Or something like that. And you're like, what? Why are we breaking out in song in the middle of like... It's very weird. It's just a very weird written book. But in the end, it's like very genius. You know, it kept me interested because I wanted to know what the heck, why, how did they get to where they are? Like just the three of them, Mary Cat, Constance, and Uncle Julian, are in this huge house all together. Why are they there? What happened to the rest of the family? Because Uncle Julian's always saying, like, talking about, do you remember that night? Do you remember how they all died? And everyone died. And you're like, what happened to everyone? And like I said, they get like their little handful of visitors that come and check on them. And Dr. Julian has a doctor that comes and check on him as well. And he has his good days and his bad days. On his good days, he's always like asking Constance for different things, and you know, where are my papers? I need to write this down about the day they all died. And you're like, what? It's just it's crazy. It's really crazy. But I mean, it's a really fun, eerie read. That's exactly how like it was. That's what kind of like caught me when I went to Barnes and Noble to get it. Eerily fun read or something like that, and it really is. You know, you totally get what they're talking about. But so yeah, so okay, so back to this cousin Charles. So he comes to visit, and Mary Cat does not like this because this is like cutting into like their little routine, because they're like a little secluded little family that has their little routine that they do, and here comes this cousin Charles who's just like trying to like get them out of their routine and wants their money, basically, was what I'm thinking. So she always finds him like wearing something of her father's, like his watch and his chain, and something about a scarf, and he's like, oh, this is a very nice scarf, this is very high class, and he paid a lot of money for this, you're not going to let this go to waste, I'm going to wear it, and stuff like that. And Mary Cat is not having this. So she tries to think of ways to get rid of cousin Charles, which is really funny, because, you know, she's like narrating to herself, like, I could do this and I could do that, you know, I could kill him, basically. And so anyway, she does all these like little things, but you know, nothing ever really comes. Like he doesn't go away until one day something happens, and it is all his fault as to why this particular thing happens. And that's kind of like when all hell breaks loose, and like the fence is torn down, you know, just things like whatever happened kind of triggered the event for, you know, what was going to come of Mary Catherine, Constance, and Uncle Julian. So yeah, so then like all the town villagers come, you know, like I'm thinking like with their pitchforks and torches and stuff, to come and just like terrorize their home after this incident has happened. They think they like have access to this, and you know, and they're like, you are terrible people, you committed a terrible crime, things like that. And then they go on to start, you know, the little kids are ranting this little poem, Mary Cat, would you like a cup of tea? No, you're going to poison me. And but you kind of get it. You kind of get a little bit of the story in like chapter 3 of like what happened. But it's not till the end where it kind of turns into a little twisty thing. She's kind of like genius this way, and the author, I mean, and kind of turns it into this crazy twist of a story of like what really happened. So yeah, after like the attack on them or whatever happens, they you know, it kind of like they don't really know what to do, because they don't get out. They don't get out the house, so they don't know what is out there. They don't have a car. So, you know, it's like in the time where cars were invented, because they talk about, you know, how cars and stuff, people come to visit in their Ford or whatever. But I'm telling y'all, it just gave me that historical vibe, like Jane Austen vibe. It really did. So they like board themselves up. They try to like make a fence themselves, or Mary Cat does. I mean, it's not like the best fence. It's basically a fence made of like all the rubble and stuff like that from the incident of whatever happened. And cousin Charles is finally gone, but he does try to come back and like claim his love for Constance, which is weird. They're cousins, you know, like first cousins, because I think cousin Charles is another brother of their father, so Uncle Julian's brother. So I'm like, okay, incest much? Let's not go there. But anyway, they don't let him in. They like pretty kind of, you know, close themselves off pretty good. And so that's pretty much the end of cousin Charles. But it just kind of like ends. There's no like really like you find out what really happened to the family on that night. But it's not. I mean, it's a little twist, because the whole time you're thinking it's something else happened. But then in the end, I mean, it's the same thing, but yet there's a twist to it. So it was kind of like, oh, okay, cool. And then that's it. And then, you know, and they go on to explain, you know, how her and Constance are going to, well, you guess her and Constance, how they're going to live out their life together without getting out of this house. And it's just crazy. It's just crazy. I don't want to give too much away in case you want to read it, but it's just super weird. Just very weird. But it was really fun to read, and it was kind of a fast read because it's a short book. Like I said, it's only 12 chapters or so. Chapter 10, maybe just 10 chapters. Yeah, I think it's just like 10 chapters, but the chapters are really long. So yeah, just really weird. I think it would be a fun read for like fall coming up with Halloween and stuff. It's kind of, because it's eerie. It's kind of like creepy, like it's almost got like a little creepiness to it. So that's why I enjoyed it. I just enjoyed, you know, just a little eeriness it had to it, and the feel of like Halloween and things like that. I love Halloween. I love all things scary. Not all things scary, but you know, I like Halloween. I mean, it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't the greatest book. It definitely wasn't something that I would have normally picked up. I was just curious of what it was about, but it was just really, it was just weird. That's how I can explain it. It was just eerily weird how they lived and how they functioned, even in like the later 1960s. Because, I mean, I wasn't here in that time, but, you know, just listening to my parents talk about that time, it didn't seem that way. You know, maybe in different parts of the country. I am looking right today. So yeah, that's it, y'all. So I hope y'all enjoyed this little book talk. They're not really reviews, I guess, because, well, I guess they are in a sense. I'd probably give this like a 3 just because I didn't really like it, and I didn't like love it. I just kind of like liked it. I was just kind of like neutral. It was just kind of just a fun little read, something a little different, and it kept me interested. That's kind of like what my thing is. If it keeps me interested, then I'm gonna definitely read it. And I'll give it like at least 3 stars or something like that. But so yeah, that's what I think like I gave it on my Goodreads. Definitely go check out my Goodreads. I make sure to try to, I'm all tongue-tied today, post my reviews on there. So right now I am currently reading the Sleep Like a Baby by Shirley Harris. That one, I don't know if I'm going to do a review or a talk about that one because it's like the 12th book in the series. And if you haven't really been following along with the series, it might be kind of hard to understand. But we might talk a little bit about Ro and her journey. And yeah, I might do it. We'll see how I feel after this book. But I'm really enjoying this book right now. So that's it, y'all. Of course, I will have everything that I use linked down in the description box below. I'll also link the book there if you want to check it out. And if you liked this little book talk, give it a thumbs up. I try to put these up either on every Friday or Saturdays, and of course like Mondays or Tuesdays are more my beauty fashion kind of videos. So if you like any of those, come and subscribe. Hit the like button, whatever you need to do. Follow me on my Instagram. That's where I'm mostly at. I do have a Facebook. I'll have all that down below. Yeah, all right. So I'll let y'all go and stop rambling. Y'all have a great, great weekend. I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye.